Can you explain the main problems of Africa today?
Thank you very much. The main problems of Africa is its youth, its demographic dividend. I represent African Youth. I'm the president of the Pan-African Youth Union, which is the principal, the main organization of African youth within the African Union. So we represent all the member states of the African Union, means all the national youth organizations in different countries. The main challenge of Africa today is its youth. We have 65% of African population which is composed of youth. And this is a demographic dividend which can be at the same time an opportunity and also a danger for Africa if not well managed, because we have those young people being recruited in terrorist groups. We have the young people being in the terrorist groups, in armed groups, those young people bombing in everyday Somalia, those young people we have in the East Democratic Republic of Congo destabilize the country. We have those young people destabilizing Central African Republic. We have those young people destabilizing Southern Sudan, and we have all these kind of young people really becoming a major problem for Africa, because the demographic dividend is not well managed. But also African youth is a huge potential for Africa's development. Today in new technology, we have young people doing well in agriculture and so on.
And how can you solve this problem?
The only way we can resolve this problem is to invest in Africa's youth. That means we have to produce and consume, and we have to produce in Africa. For instance, with our natural resources that are taken from Africa to go developed outside of the continent, they take jobs away from Africa. They don't leave jobs in Africa. And this is the major issue which creates youth unemployment on the continent. Out of the 100% of unemployment, we have 60% of unemployed youth on the continent, and mostly in sub-Saharan Africa. So these are the challenges that only if we invest, especially when we invest in agriculture, we can create more jobs for the young people. When we invest in new technology, we can create more jobs for the young people. But today we see that many young people, Africans, are leaving Africa to come to Europe through illegal migration and all these things, simply because they see no hope in their different countries. Sometimes it's lack of good governance, sometimes it's also lack of development in these underdeveloped countries that are going through challenges. So we believe that if African countries can invest and the world can help, African countries can go forward.
But is it possible in a neo-colonial, when new colonialism is still existing, is it possible to make this
That would
advantage?
be very, very, very difficult, because we have new colonialism today. We have new colonialism within Africa, and this is a new colonialism based on capitalism. That we have a new economical colonialism. Economically, we still colonize in Africa because we cannot really be able to run our own economy and also be the powerhouse of the world and also contribute. But simply because Africa continues to face so many issues, especially for interfering with national issues within the African continent. We have those former colonies of Africa who still believes that they still have hands in Africa and they must control these specific countries. Myself, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I know that Belgium came to colonize us, yes, but doesn't mean that Belgium should still continue to think that we're still a baby. We're not a baby. We are a country and we are a partner, and so we must work together. It's not that time that England must still think that, oh, I colonized so and so country and I must still detect what must happen in this country. We are not babies. I think Africa is mature, and Africa can play a major role in the world agenda if only Africa is being helped. If Africa is not helped in Africa, if jobs are not created in Africa, we will have all these masses and demographic dividend leaving Africa, coming also to create trouble within Europe. And then we are saying we get headache of the issue of illegal migrants and all these issues, and then we start calling for for G7, we call for G20, and then we have the BRICS, we have all these things, European Union. Everybody will meet and spend a lot of money. Well, it is simple. Work with African countries, develop partnership, economic partnership that is sustainable and which can benefit the people of this country. And through this economic development, I think we can be able to address all these issues that Africa is facing.
And how is the imperialists interfere in your states in Africa?
The word imperialism is not a new word in Africa. This is a word that came from our forefathers, the time of the Sékou Touré, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Patrice Emery Lumumba. These are the people that they experienced real imperialism. But what we are saying today, the meaning of imperialism today is not just a fact of saying we are being colonized, recolonized, or we are having a hand from Brussels, from Paris, from Washington, from New York, which is saying you sit there, this is what you want you to do. No, it's not only that, but it's also a matter of saying we want to work together. We want to work together and make sure that we advance the world agenda. No one can work alone in this world. We need each other. We need to add something to something so that we can be able to advance the world. So Africa is not saying we want to work alone. Africa is not saying that the meaning of imperialism today is you staying there and us we stay here. No, we cannot develop Africa alone. We need the world. But the way things are done, we don't want to go back to what our forefathers went through. We won't want our generation, we don't want to go, I specifically as a youth of Congo, I don't want to go what Patrice Emery Lumumba went through, or Simon Kimbangu went through, Mzee Laurent Désiré Kabila went through, and all these heroes of my country went through. Because today I managed to get education, a lot of it, and also being exposed in the world and to know so many things. So what we are saying is that new colonialism in Africa won't help Africa. And Belgium thinking only when we have our hands in Congo, then we can see how to help the Congolese people in Congo. It doesn't help. Or Paris saying that in Congo Brazzaville we have to have our hands and so on. It doesn't help. What is more important is to say Congo Brazzaville, Congo Kinshasa, what do you have on the table? How can we work together to uplift the development of the country and help the people of this country? This is what we want to see. And us as the youth, we will not keep quiet. We will speak. What is more important is to tell the partners what we want. And we respect the partnership. We can see how Africa can move forward.
How important is the partnership with China and Russia?
China is the biggest partner of Africa, and this you know it. And of course Russia, there is history between Russia and Africa, you know it very well. Yeah. I think China and Russia has been standing together with Africa, be it in the UN Security Council, be it everywhere almost in the world. So our partnership with Russia and China is so significant to the continent, and especially to my own country, Democratic Republic of Congo, as Russia believes in international justice and also in the sovereignty of other member states and the rights of those member states, as well as China and Russia. So we have partnership with others, Europe, like America. We had a forum on Africa and Europe youth 2 months ago in Abidjan, and then we discussed these issues of equality and also the way we can work together to boost our economy.
Last question: how important is are the ideas of Patrice Lumumba today?
I personally, as a young person, I grew up in revolutionary movements, starting in Namibia in the Swapo Party Youth League, and also in my own country. I've been a student in the University of Namibia and president of the Student Representative Council. So I've been working with so many political parties within our region, with CCM from Tanzania, with MPLA from Angola, the ANC from South Africa, and other parties. Though today I represent African youth, I don't have to have political colors because I represent all the youth. However, growing in that background, I strongly believe that we need to continue the struggle of Patrice Emery Lumumba. We shall continue the struggle of Sékou Touré and Kwame Nkrumah and many others, the Mwalimu Nyerere's, and that is the struggle that we have to take. And now is to liberate Africa and also to give Africa economic freedom. That is our struggle now as African youth, and that is what we are fighting for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.